drop.
It's the final day here at the Tire Rack SCCA Solo Nationals. I'm Brian Belansky. This is Inside the SCCA, our final episode, kind of, from here in Lincoln. We're going to do a bonus episode next Wednesday night with some great interviews here, some final interviews that I did. 2 minutes to put in this show, so we're going to do an extra episode. Not an extra episode. Next Wednesday's regular episode will be our final here from Lincoln. And it is a great end to this event. It's been 4 fantastic days of competition just for Solo Nationals, and then before that, 2 great days of competition for the Pro Solo finale. Weather has been fantastic, although there are a little bit of dark clouds in the air this morning, so we might get a little moisture here on the final day of competition. But it has been a fantastic, fantastic time here at Lincoln. My second time here, and it did not disappoint. The different vibe from the 50th anniversary with the whole Wild Wild West theme, which was fantastic, could not have been better. But let's get to some more interviews. We have a special guest host here with me at the end of the show, so don't leave before the end of the show, because we've got a great guest host here with me for that. So let's get right to the interviews. All right, we're here at the SCCA Tire Rack Solo Nationals. I'm here with SCCA Board of Director member Clay Turner. How are you?
I'm doing great, Brian. How are you?
What are you racing this week here?
I am racing a Factory 5 Cobra. It's a 2006 model. I'm in Cam S, Classic American Muscle Car Sport for 2-seaters. So it's a sea of Corvettes,
Okay.
and me, and a T-bucket. Oh, and then Solstice.
And how competitive is your car with all those Corvettes?
I got some work to do.
Okay.
Right? A couple years ago, we allowed Aero.
Okay.
Cam S used to be an arms race for horsepower,
Sure.
right? Then it was an arms race for suspension, too.
Right.
Now it's an arms race for Aero, right? I'm loath to cut up my Cobra because I love the car so much, right? But I tell you, I saw the Speedway car. Did you see that car that was here? And an ingenious mount that went on the back of the down tubes for that. So I got a little idea that I'm going to do something for next year. Yeah.
There you go. How many years have you been coming to Solo Nationals?
25 years now.
25 consecutive?
No.
Okay.
No, I
close.
missed a couple here and there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
25.
I missed for World War II.
So
and then I was back.
So you've seen this event evolve over 25 years.
Yeah.
What was it like 25 years ago when you came the first time?
You know, it was no less fun than it is now. It's grown immensely, and so the logistics are far more important now. There's a much bigger concrete schedule of events that happen, and you start to get the feel for the flow of the event, the parties, the meetings, the other things that go on around competition. But what has always worked here is that it's always remained on schedule. It's always been run very professionally, whether it was...
You can keep talking. Oh, it's good. Everybody knows everybody here.
Right. So it's either whether a role is filled by staff or by volunteers, everybody is dedicated to doing it right. And that's always come through.
You're also a member of the board of directors.
I am. Don't blame me for that.
I'm not. Lots of things happening around the club.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think people forget that this is the club's biggest event.
It is. It's not only the club's biggest event, but I believe this is the largest participant motorsports event in the U.S.
And maybe the world.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I haven't been all around the world.
Neither have I.
Right.
But I'd be hard-pressed to find one with 1,300 competitors.
Maybe there's something in Bali we don't know about.
Yeah, we should work on finding that out.
We should go tomorrow.
As a board member coming here and seeing this, the future of the club feels pretty strong at the moment, doesn't it?
Future Club is great.
Yeah.
Future Club is changing, and we got to kind of keep our eyes on going forward and not just our legacy, because we've got a terrific legacy, right? But the world is changing.
Absolutely.
The marketplace is changing, right? All kinds of other things are affecting what we do that we had no idea that would have some sort of an impact on what we do, right? As a board member, I think all of us are on. We've got a terrific board right now.
Right.
Everyone trusts each other. Everybody's working toward the same thing. Everybody respects the boundaries around staff and leadership and how that's going to work. We all know our roles real well. But I think all of us are aware that we all won a popularity contest in our respective divisions. Right, in our areas, right? That doesn't, and the IP that we have is tremendous. I mean, you go to an SEV meeting and the amount of knowledge they have about valve springs and suspension hookup points and the differences in the 2911s on that year's line is incredible. I don't know anybody else who has that kind of IP, right? But that's not necessarily the kind of acumen that's going to drive us forward into the future, right? We got to be a little bit more strategic about that. So we're still working on how to do that. We're striving to do better in that all the time.
Right. That board, it's a high-paid cush position, right?
Yeah, you bet. That trip to Bali, it's on you and me, buddy.
I asked that question because I always hear, on Facebook or whatever, people complaining about this or that. And I keep reminding people, these are people who, yes, they've been voted in, but they're volunteers. Yeah. And I think you get covered maybe some travel for some things on occasion, or does that not happen anymore?
No, we get some travel, but we've cut the travel way down.
Right, but other than that, it's a volunteer position.
It's a volunteer position.
And it's a thankless position.
No, it's not.
No? Okay.
No, it's not thankless. We say that, but it's not true.
Okay.
I think there's an awful lot of people, all of us who are on the board, we got there by putting in a lot of hours locally.
Sure.
We've made a lot of relationships locally, and that doesn't just happen overnight, right? And I think there's an awful lot of people who are very grateful, and I know that I'm grateful. I don't ever want to forget that I'm there to serve all of them, and not the other way around. The organization doesn't serve my needs at all. I'm there to serve those needs, and that's enough for me.
As a board member, what's the one thing you're most excited about right now?
Tomorrow's runs.
I love it. Always thinking about the drive.
Look, I get to drive this thing, you know? I mean, how cool is that? This is the last autocross car I'll ever have. Yeah. Whether it's for the next 10 years or next 30.
Yeah.
So, but as a board member, we've got some big rocks coming up on the horizon this year. There's some big changes in the way we're going to organize for the future of road racing, right? And I'm really excited about that because I think those are going to position us well for growth in the future, right?
Sure.
Solo, I mean, how can you not be excited about 1,400 competitors over 8 days in a place like this? Our biggest challenge is how do we manage that success? Right. The time trials program is awesome, right? I really like where that's headed. Track Night in America is huge. What a terrific brand. Track Night in America. What's that? I want to know what that is. I don't know anything about it. I want to know right now. There's just a lot of good things happening for us. And we're a very mature organization and a very mature sport. So growth is hard to find. Right. We dominate on autocross, for example. We dominate in safety or things like that. But how are those markets going to grow? Or we got to be looking for new markets. Yeah. Always got to be looking for places to grow.
Absolutely. Clay Turner, thank you very much. Appreciate you taking a few minutes.
We appreciate all you do for us, buddy.
All right. We're here at Solo Nationals. It's Inside the SCCA. We're here on Inside the SCCA with Rick Ruth. He drives a seat-prepared Mustang. Yep. How are you?
I am good.
I am good.
I'm also very slow.
You're very slow. So am I. So we're in at least in that boat, we're in the same.
Such a deal.
We're using the same set of oars. When do you run this week?
I ran second heat this morning.
Okay, so you're running Thursday, Friday.
That's why I know I'm slow.
Okay, all right. Are you having fun though?
Yeah, of course.
So I always try to get at least one driver who's paddocked way out here.
Oh, yeah, we are way out here.
Because as we like to say where I grew up in Wisconsin, you are a country mile away from everything that's happening.
Indeed. It's also much quieter.
I was going to say. So, do you choose to stay out here?
Yeah, actually, he chose to stay here, so we paddock with him.
Okay.
And he is from Wisconsin originally.
Well, very good, very good. Is it nice and quiet out here compared to the
other areas?
Yes,
indeed. Although they said they could still hear the music at 2:30 in the morning. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose there's nothing to block the music.
No, that's true.
Yeah. So how many times have you been here to the Nationals?
This is 51.
51. So are you a 100%er?
Yes, I am.
How did I not know that?
I don't know.
I know we tried to get you on the show last year. You said we tried to get you on the show last year.
Indeed.
And now I know why.
Yes.
I know why. You're also out here with the big planes doing their touch and goes here.
It is a big one.
One of the cool features of being here in Lincoln.
Indeed.
So 51 years.
Yes.
Haven't missed one.
Not a one.
What makes you keep coming back?
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just fun. I haven't been competitive for a long time.
Right.
So now it's just fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Is this the car you've had for most of the 51 years?
I run this car since 1985.
1985. And what did you run before that?
1970 Boss 302 Mustang.
Great.
Which the engine and transmission are in that car.
Oh, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, I sold the Boss as a roller.
Okay.
So
Okay. Over the years, you said you're slow now.
yes,
How competitive have you been in the past?
I have 17 national trophies.
Okay.
I was second 4 times.
Second
in
4
C
times.
prior.
So oftentimes the bridesmaid.
Frequently.
Frequently.
Yes.
You get to see the same people coming back every year. I guess
Most of the
that's
time.
got to be fun, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like old home week.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're based out of where?
I'm just about 30 miles west of St. Louis
Okay.
now.
And St. Louis was the first location,
Right.
which probably made that easy for you.
No, I didn't live there then. I've been in St. Louis for the last 18 years. I was in Chicago before that.
Okay. I grew up in Chicago as well. So
Very good.
Chicago,
Where in
Wisconsin.
Chicago?
Well, I was born downtown.
Okay.
And then I spent a number of years in Arlington Heights.
Okay. I'm in Schaumburg.
And then we moved to Lake Geneva.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah. That's
It's
where
allowed.
That's where I spent my formative years.
There you go.
So, how has this event changed in 51 years? I mean, it's been a lot of different locations.
Yeah, the biggest change, I think, is the courses are much more open now than they used to be.
Okay.
Going back years. It used to be that gates were 10 feet wide and slaloms were 30 feet apart on cones. Now it's 45 feet apart and, 15 feet wide,
Sure.
I think.
Is that born out of bigger places to play, or is there some other reason behind that, do you think?
I wouldn't know for sure. Just what people wanted, I think.
Yeah. I guess the cars are probably faster in some
Less
cases.
less gimmicky, I think.
Sure.
A lot of people think.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. How many more years do you plan on keep coming back?
Until I go in the box, I guess.
All right, that's one way to look at it. Well, I appreciate you taking some time with me here.
No problem. Enjoyed it.
And I will come back out here next year.
Okay, we'll do it again.
And we'll do it again next year. How's that?
Such a deal.
All right, we're on Inside the SCCA here at the Tire Rack SCCA Solo Nationals. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Ta-ta.
We're here at the SCCA Tire Rack Solo Nationals here, and I am here with Rich Jones. He is an FM driver at this event, an F6 driver in road racing. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Your first trip to Solo Nationals?
It is.
How's it going?
Well, I'm not the best driver. Matter of fact, I'm the worst driver, but I'm having fun. It's a heck of a community out here. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'll be back.
First trip out, a lot of adventures when you come here for the first time. It's hard to grasp the scope of the event, right?
Everybody told me you won't understand the size of this event. You won't understand, and I look at the map and I think, all right, I get it. It's big, and then you get here, and it really takes you back. How many cars are here from how many places? All the different stuff that I don't see road racing. It's fun. It's a good time, and it's a nice community.
Yeah. You come here with proper expectations, right? There's a lot of cars, a lot of guys who do this all the time. You're relatively new to the solo game, right?
I am.
Yeah.
I did a solo this year before. I've done solos before, but not seriously.
Yeah.
You did a podcast about a year ago.
Uh-huh.
And it made this event sound like so much fun.
And it is, yeah.
That I said I got to do this.
That's awesome. After being now here for a couple of days, what are your takeaways from it?
So I sent my team a message last night. I said, these are the things that I've learned so far. And it was a pretty long list. And it was, all I had done is run through some test stuff.
Yeah.
It's been great. The community has been fun. I can't say enough about the venue is nice. The people are great. What more can you ask for?
Yeah. Speaking of that community, you had some issues on your first run group. Car wouldn't start.
Yep.
You told me that some folks came to give you a hand.
They did. I had some problems yesterday with the car starting at my test runs, my
Right.
test sessions. I thought I had it all worked out. It starts up here fine. I drive up to the line, and of course, it doesn't start.
Yeah.
I don't get out of the car, and there's 6 people, 8 people back there working on my car. Half of them I've never even met before.
It's a
And
little scary sometimes.
it's a little scary. It's a little scary, but man, they're in it for the right reasons. And turns out we swapped plugs, and the rest of the afternoon went swimmingly.
Awesome. What and you're going to come back and do it again, I'm assuming?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. I can't decide. Do I need to modify my car so it's more competitive
Right.
for solo? Keep it as a road race car, or set up something in between where I can swap it back and forth.
Sure.
This isn't the fastest road race car either,
Right.
but I have fun doing that as well.
That's kind of one of the things I did on my first year, is to kind of like learn what I needed to know.
Yep.
Because you don't know what you don't know until you know you didn't know it.
Right.
And until you come and do the event, you really have a hard time understanding what it is you could do, or shouldn't do. And so the first kind of event is kind of a throwaway from the competitive side, but you learn so much.
Yeah. Well, I'm still very much on the steep end of the learning curve.
Yeah.
But it's so much fun, and it's such a good group of people, and it's just a good time.
Yeah.
It's just a good time.
As a first timer, any advice for people out there who might be considering coming out here?
Listen to your group. Get in with your group. Do some solos. If they give you some advice, try to heed it as best you can.
Right.
Nobody has steered me wrong so far.
Cool. Rich Jones here at the SCCA Solo Nationals. This is Inside the SCCA. Inside the SCCA at the Solo Nationals here. Dan Sumner from Mazda Motorsports here with me again this year.
How you doing,
I
Brian?
think you were my victim last year too.
Yeah, good to see you again.
Good to see you. So you're back this year, but you're back and you're with a trailer this year.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about why you brought this big beast here.
Well, this year we decided to do something a little different. Traditionally, we've come out and we've supported our racers just by giving them an opportunity to engage with us and having a little bit of a customer experience center. And also, we try to do things like give away T-shirts, and we're still doing all that.
Right.
But also, we're out with a parts trailer this year because we thought that it would be an opportunity to use. This is a parts trailer that we've had for about a year now.
Right.
And we take it to different events, mostly our road racing events or Spec MX-5 events. And it was an opportunity for us to bring it out here, see how the response would be,
Right.
and hopefully have some parts that people would be able to use this week to keep them on track. So that's mainly why we brought this out this year, but also a place for people to land and come just visit with us
Right.
as well.
Right.
So
this year we've got a big deal that you guys are a big part of.
yeah,
The Club Spec program.
exactly.
There's 2 cars possible. One's a Mustang, one's an MX-5.
Yes.
You guys have been a big part of the SCCA for a long time.
Yeah.
And you stepped up again now with this Spec MX-5. First, tell us a little bit about why you thought it was important to be part of that program.
Exactly. Okay. Well, it actually kind of makes sense for us. I mean, because we've been putting a lot of development and time behind parts development as well for the MX-5, specifically for Spec MX-5. The series has been running for about 3 years now. And I could be wrong on the numbers, but anyway, it's been kind of a natural progression for us. We saw the need, and we kind of jumped on the opportunity.
Yeah.
And we felt like this was a way for people to bring that car back into the fold, I guess, if you will, and
Sure.
and really kind of give people an opportunity to have another option outside of the NA, NBs, and the NDs, somewhere in between. And it's a great place for someone who is used to maybe running a little bit higher cost class,
Right.
and they're looking to get in a Mazda.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity for someone to do that at a fairly minimal cost,
Right.
And it's a very low barrier to entry. So
So tell us about the car. What is the difference between a bone stock NC.
Yeah.
And what we now call Club Spec MX-5.
Yeah, so the CXX car is essentially mostly suspension components.
Okay.
So we worked closely with Penske Racing Shocks. We also use the same bar that they use in the SMX cars, the Spec MX-5, the Eibach bars, and springs. So you've got shocks, you've got the whole suspension package that changes the whole feel of the car and the whole stance of the car. We've also wheels are different, you know. So the wheels are certainly something that helps lighten up the car and also give it a better stance, you know.
Sure.
And then as far as any other differences between the car would really just be in the intake side of things. So essentially it is a spec class in that everybody has to run the car exactly the same.
Right.
The only differences really are wheels and brakes that you can kind of make your choices on. But
and it's only brake pads.
Brake pads, yeah.
Right. You can't the actual calipers,
you can't
brake
change
lines,
any of
it's
that.
all
It has to be stock brake calipers and lines and all that. And I think you're allowed to run the steel braided brake lines in the class, but
that makes sense.
But essentially, it's built for everybody to come out and compete at the same level. And really, what it comes down to is kind of like the Spec MX-5 class. It's based off of your ability, rather than what you can put in the car and make it go fast.
Well,
So-
what I like is what you guys did is you didn't really reinvent the wheel. You've already gone through all the development with the Spec MX-5 car.
Exactly.
A lot of the parts are the same. So there wasn't well, maybe this might work, let's try it, because you know it worked because you've already done it.
Exactly.
So I think that's a really nice component to this. How many are out there? How many kits have you sold?
So we've sold quite a few. I don't know the exact numbers on it at this point, but I know that there's 9 cars out here this week.
Okay.
So the class is definitely growing, and we're looking for more support for the class. And even during this week, if someone were to come to the trailer and order the suspension kit, we're giving them a little bit of a discount on that. So it kind of makes it a little easier even this week to get out here and put that kit on your car and get in the class. We had somebody already order a kit this week, so he's really excited to get into the class and hopefully going to be here at Nationals next year.
All right, does it have to be buy it here and buy it this week?
Yeah, buy it here this week.
I'm going to have to make sure people listen to this tonight because they're going to have one shot at
it. Exactly.
Very cool.
But even still, it is we try to do our best to develop the parts in such a way that they are not astronomical in price.
Yeah.
But they give you the best bang for your buck. And really, this suspension setup that we have for this car has really changed the way that it handles. And really, most people have said they love the package.
Yeah.
So
cool.
There's been a lot of great feedback from it.
Anything else new on the horizon that you want to share with us that no one else knows about right now so we can break some news?
At this point, we don't have anything new and exciting except for the fact that we are committed to this sport and we will always be here, and it's something that is very near and dear to us, and we love coming out here and supporting these racers, and everything about this event really speaks to what we're all about when it comes to the grassroots side of things. So
great.
Yeah.
Dan Sumner, thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Dan Sumner, Mazda Motorsports here inside the SCCA from the Tire Rack SCCA Solo Nationals.
Hi and welcome to the Inside the SCCA. I'm Angela Carlascio. This is the 2024 Solo Nationals, and I'm here with Brian Belansky.
Hello there.
Hello. And you just finished running. How many Solo Nationals is this for you?
2.
2. And you competed in?
A Honda Fit.
In what class?
H Street.
Wow. How many cars?
There were 21 or so.
And how many were fits?
None. Well, other than mine.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
It used to be a class of Honda Fits when it first came out.
Okay.
All right, so you had 2 days of driving, 3 runs each. That's why everybody thinks we're crazy to be here.
We are.
But why are we here? What makes you want to come do 3 runs per day?
Well, I'd love to do 100 runs per day. I'd be a much better solo driver if they gave me more runs. But that's not the way the sport works, you know? So it's a challenge, you know, to learn a track so fast and to get out here and know you've got 3 shots at it. And if you screw up all 3, then you've done for your whole event. And, if you screw up the first two, the pressure for the third one's like nothing I've ever experienced before. And I kind of thrive on that pressure. So I kind of find that cool.
That's really awesome to say that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people probably thrive on that type of pressure.
Yeah.
So how did you do?
I did better than I expected.
Okay.
Well, maybe not better than I expected. I did better every run, except for the one I didn't finish. I DNF'd because I completely forgot where the course was and skipped a whole section of slaloms. I got to the third cone and went to myself, oh, I think I was supposed to go around those other two. And then I had to almost come to a complete stop at the end of that run to make sure I didn't miss another section.
Oh.
And then I went back to my car and between runs looked at the map a couple of times, swore at myself in language that would make my mother blush.
Right.
And then tried to refocus.
Okay.
And went out and did it again, and did not have any more DNFs.
Okay, good.
So yes, it was. I've learned a lot about my car since last year.
Okay.
Because I knew nothing about how to make this car go as fast as it can, and it is part of fit. And and we have determined that the car I have might not be the best car for my class.
Okay.
So
it does have a short wheelbase.
It does.
And from my experience with my CRX, short wheelbases are difficult to set up.
Yeah.
I think we were talking priorly, and you were saying that you had done something to get your car to rotate. What was
Yes.
it that you did?
So the people in this class are amazing. I was able to walk up and down and impound after the runs on each day and just ask questions and find people with cars that were similar to mine, none, but see if they had any advice for me. And I tried to explain to people what the car wasn't doing. And one of the things the car can't do naturally is rotate. You want it to turn, and it doesn't like to turn. It likes to push. Or what is that? Understeer?
Understeer.
Understeer,
yeah.
yes.
Understeer, yes.
For all of you road race F1 people, I call it push because I grew up. My father made me watch NASCAR.
Okay.
It understeers terribly, and I have been desperate to get it to rotate.
Okay.
And I don't know. I didn't know how to do that. So finally, some guy said, "Well, what rear tire pressures are you running?" And I said, I'm running it at like 34. He goes, oh, no. You got to go up to like 75.
What?
I'm like, 75? That sounds really extreme.
It does.
And he said, well, that's what someone once told me. And I tried it at 60 and it didn't work. And then I went up to 70 and it didn't work. And then 75 it worked. I'm like, maybe I'll try it at 45.
Okay, that's 30-pound difference. I would feel safe with myself.
But I did it the first two runs, kind of at normal pressures. And then the last run, on the last course, on the last day, I said, you know what? What do I got to lose? I'm going to be last no matter what happens.
Right.
So I bumped it up to 45.
Okay.
And I put a little more pressure in the fronts.
Okay.
And on the first corner, it rotated. And I nearly had to call a code brown because I didn't know what to do. It was crazy. Yeah.
That sounds exciting. Now, you said it rotated.
Right.
With 45 in the back.
Yes.
What was your front tire pressures? Because there's still people running fits.
Yeah. I was 40 in the front.
Okay.
So, and it also pushed a little less. It understeered a little less in the front too.
Okay.
But the problem is when you're in the middle of your final run, and your car does something it's never done before, you have a decision to make.
Right. Okay.
You have to think to yourself, it's either going to do it again, or it ain't, and it's a guess. But you've only got 70 seconds.
Right.
It's not like you've got 17 laps left, and if it does it on the next lap, you can maybe count on it.
Right.
So I had to go do it again. And in 70 seconds, because that's the length of the run,
Right.
I had to kind of teach myself how to redrive the car, because this is my last shot.
Right.
And it did it again on the next opportunity.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I think this is going to do it every time. And I'm having these thoughts while I'm trying to drive the car without killing myself. Or anyone else.
Or anyone else.
Or any cones.
Oh, yeah.
I did not want to commit conage.
I mean, they do fold over.
They do.
They do.
They do.
And
They
bounce
probably wouldn't
back.
sue me after
No,
I was done.
They don't.
But so I'm like, okay, I'm going to count on this continuing to happen.
Right.
It was the right decision.
That's good.
It was a good guess.
That's good that you trusted yourself, that you dug in and you trusted something that you had learned so quickly on a course. Like you said, 70 seconds, and I'm sure a lot of people are like, that's not a lot of amount of time to relearn something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Scary.
Yeah.
It was more scary when I got done and I took my helmet off and went, holy crap, what just happened? And then I'm like, I'm proud of myself. It took me about like 2 or 3 minutes to like, because you might not believe it, but chasing the car for 70 seconds when it's 85, 90 degrees outside, by the time I'm done, now I'm not the most fit guy in the world. I drive a fit, but I'm not fit. But at the end of 70 seconds, I'm huffing and puffing. I'm like, I gotta get my heart rate down. I'm excited.
Right.
There's adrenaline.
Right.
Then there's the physicality of it.
Yes.
And then my brain is all fudged up because all of this just happened.
Right.
So I get back and I'm sitting in my car and I turn the car off. Actually, I left the car on and turned the air conditioning on because we can do that because I have a Honda Fit.
I mean, and you're in grid. You're not going to hurt anyone's tires.
Exactly. So I said to myself, that was pretty cool. Something happened, and I adapted to it so fast.
That's awesome.
You know, I probably could have done better with it if I had more time doing it over and over again.
Right.
But I realized, okay, if it's going to happen again, I'm going to be ready for it, and I hope it's going to happen again because I'm going to drive the car like I'm planning for it to happen again, and it did. So, and the results were kind of cool.
Now, which course are we talking about that you did that on?
So we call this the plain course.
You were on the east
side.
course.
So I was on the east side. So it's also a course with a lot more speed.
Yes.
Which is not good for my car. My car is a better car for the corn side, for the west side, because it's a tighter course.
Right.
More technical course. Because of that short wheelbase, it turns when it works.
Right.
It should be better. And since I don't have a lot of horsepower, the shorter course without a lot of gas on the floor, fasty pedal parts is good.
Right, momentum.
Right,
momentum
exactly.
driving.
So, and there's plenty of momentum. I just don't ever touch the brakes. At least I try not to. But so I was on the east course, the plain side course, the bigger course.
Right. So that's an intimidating course for a lot of people when I've been talking to, just a lot different people because it has line variation. The west side course or the corn side course was very technical. Here's your line, follow it or don't, and enjoy the marbles.
Right.
So congratulations to you for number one, trying something different on the fly. Number two, on a course that was very demanding that you had to know where you're at. You know what I mean? It's a long course. There's a lot to remember. And for the fact that you just enjoyed the fact the car did what it, and then you dug in and said, well, if it's going to do it, I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
And it did it. You trusted yourself and adapted that quickly. A lot of drivers cannot do that.
For the second year in a row, though, the course I thought was going to be easier bit me in the ass.
Which course?
I thought it was going to be the east side plain course because it was wider, things weren't coming at you so fast. I'd have more time to see. It was harder to see at speed because of the way the car is set up with the A-pillar and all of that. I was having a harder time picking up where my turning points were.
Okay.
Didn't seem that way when I walked the course.
Right.
I thought that this one's going to be much easier. I actually spent more time working on the other course than I did on this course. Bad idea. But yeah, so, and that's why I DNF'd the first run, because I just lost feeling for where I was on the course. But I was able to get it back together for runs 2 and 3. So.
And how did you shake off that DNF?
Well, I was already going to be last. At that point in time, the history book was already fairly written. And I was really just trying to learn about the car at that point.
Okay.
And deciding just to do some things really wild with it to see if it reacted, because I wasn't convinced that it would. And so at that point in time, after the DNF on the second run, I'm like, on the first run, I'm going to get one decent run in just to make sure I have a time. And then on the final run, if I don't DNF the second run, I'm going to throw every kitchen sink tool in the toolbox at it and just see what happens.
To anyone that has, I love your positive attitude. Like you came up here, you're like, yeah, I'm last. Okay, what can I do while I'm here?
Yeah.
To anyone out there that's fearing coming up
Don't.
here and being last,
Don't. I'm gonna host a toast every year for those of us who finish last in our class.
Okay.
I've just decided to do that, even if I don't finish last next year, because there's nothing wrong with that. You're here. You're here with 1,300 great, amazing people. You're here with the best people in the history of this sport Some of the best drivers who've driven any kind of car in any kind of motorsports are here this week racing. So you're here competing against those people, with those people. You're here to be able to get their knowledge. I've not walked up to a single human being, whether they were fighting for first place in their class or fighting for a middle pack spot, who wouldn't take 5 minutes to talk to me about anything. It's just amazing. It's like I walk in. I just drove through the gate on Monday morning, and I felt like this big group hug about to happen. And that's what this is. It's like a 1,300 person group hug, and it is so much fun. Much fun.
I have to agree with the group hug. I mean, coming up here for 15 years, or no, since 2011. Sorry, my math
Close
is
to
off.
15 years.
But yeah, so my math is off. I came up in 2010 as my first time, just to experience it, walk around, see what the courses are like, and I got excited. I wanted to come back, and I haven't stopped coming back except for a few years. But the people, you know, it's all about the people you meet. It's certainly, you know, like, people will talk to you about your car, what your setup is, and I'm amazed, like you said, the talent. When you think about people that have to switch classes because something broke or switch cars, and they get in there and they just get it done.
Yeah.
And that is amazing. And it's, for anyone that hasn't come up here fearing to come in last, they should really think about the social aspect of it and the fact that we're here for you. We don't go home with $1 million, do we?
No.
No.
We go home. Most people go home with nothing.
Right.
No money. Well, no one goes home with any money unless they want a little bit of contingency money.
Yes.
Which, at the best, I think is probably $1,000 worth of stuff, and it's usually stuff and not money.
Right.
So no one's getting rich doing this.
No.
The trophies aren't worth that much, but they're beautiful.
They're beautiful.
But most people here don't even go home with a trophy.
And the jacket's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, and when you look at the numbers, it's less than 1%. It's like 0.0 something percent that goes home with something hardware in their hands.
Yeah.
Do you think that if you were to continue coming out here, you're going to continue coming out?
I plan to.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you continue not to perform well class-wise, what would bring you back? What
Well, it's
besides
definitely the
besides the people, can you overcome? I mean, you are you competitive? Would that get in your way?
Well, I'm terribly competitive.
Okay.
But I did some triathlons. If you look at me, I'm not a triathlon shaped guy. So there's a saying I caught somewhere, and I don't remember who it was who said it, and it's certainly not mine. But they said, "Complete, don't compete."
Oh, I like that a lot.
And for a lot of people here, me included, that's kind of the game, you know. And the good part about this is, I can compete against myself, as well as competing against the other people here. So next year, my goal is, first of all, I'm going to try to find a co-drive next year.
Okay.
Because I can't, I don't want to be in the fit, no matter how. I talked with the guy who came in fourth in the class, and he said, if I drove your car, I'd probably come in last. I don't know that he'd come in last, but he certainly would be at the back end of the field.
Okay.
The car's just not the car for the class. So I'm going to try to find a co-drive for next year. Anybody watching who would like to have a co-driver, give me a call. But I want to finish first. I want a trophy. I have a lot of work to do to get to that.
Okay.
And it'll probably be several years before I'm in a position to do that. But every year when I come, I can look and say, okay, well, this year I finished 21st. Next year I'm going to go for 50. If there's the same number of cars in a class, if I get a top 15, I'd be happy.
And you mentioned like finding a co-drive, which means putting you in a different vehicle.
Yep.
So are you looking for a specific type of vehicle, like front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, etc.?
In all of my competition in the last 35 years, I've always done front-wheel drive cars.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a Honda, but I've always driven Hondas. So it doesn't matter. You know, I could also do something completely different. I'm here to have fun.
Right.
And I'm here to do the podcasts. So that's really my purpose for coming.
Okay.
And the driving is just icing on the cake. So, you know, if you want to put me in something awesome, or anything's better than a fit. So my bar is real low, people. But yeah.
One of my friends is going to be so hurt by that.
What?
She loves her Fit. And
No,
she
I love my
autocrosses
Fit. It is the best car. I am the only person here, I can guarantee you, who drove their race car to the racetrack over 3 mountains, 1,500 miles, and I got 38.5 miles per gallon.
You did good.
Yeah.
You did
so
good.
that's a win right there.
That
I
is a
won
win.
before I even got on the track. So, we did this interview thing. I asked Angela to be my guest host to interview me. And I told her about how all to get into the whole interview. I never told her how to end it.
No, you did not. No, and I was thinking that at some point. I was like,
Yeah.
I could wrap it up.
All right. So let's do it this. This is going to be the last interview of the show.
Okay.
From Solo Nationals.
Oh, very cool.
Okay. So let's end it together. Okay. Here's how it goes. Here's our last interview from Solo Nationals. Have yourself a great year. We'll see you in 2025. Ready?
Ready.
All right. Here's our last interview from Solo Nationals. Have yourself a great year. We'll see you in 2025,
y'all. Bye-bye.
All right, that's going to do it for our week of coverage from Solo Nationals, at least the stuff that we had planned. The extra episode is coming later this week. A big thank you to Angela. I've always wanted to have someone to interview me on the show, so she did a fantastic job with this final interview from Lincoln here, and I really appreciate all of her help. And I also wanted to tell you all to remember to help me out by helping out our partners here who make this possible. Of course, we are at Solo National, so I'm going to start this time with Solo Performance Specialties. They are here and supporting the solo community all year round at many events, also with their website. Dave Whitworth and his crew have been absolutely busting hump this week to help everybody here. And if you need anything from them, check out their link in the show notes and go get some stuff from them. Racekeeper, the official in-car camera of Inside the SCCA. You're going to see some video on the shows in the next couple of weeks of my little Honda Fit doing the best it can, and it's underpowered and under equipped state, but we had a good time with it. But the Racekeeper did a fantastic job, so we'll get all of that video up as well there too. Of course, Ray Esports, the official sim racing league of Inside the SCCA. If you want to go sim racing with a bunch of SCCA members and some other folks as well, some really great racing, fun because there's not the beating and banging you might get on other sim racing leagues. Most of the people in the league are racers as well as sim racers, so check them out. And then finally, the new presenting sponsor for Inside the SCCA, raceschool.com. They've got a great race school both at Buttonwillow and at Willow Springs. People come from all over the country to do their driver's schools with raceschool.com. Check them out. They are in the show notes. I can't thank everybody here at SCCA National. The people in Lincoln are awesome. They love having us here. We were at the restaurant a couple times, and the waitresses and the wait staff wanted to hear what we were doing and all of that kind of stuff. The city really embraces this event, and it is and the Lincoln Air Park are fantastic hosts. Also, being able to hang out and see the planes taking off and doing their touch and goes and their military maneuvers throughout the week was great last year. Again, great this year. So wonderful hosts for us here at Lincoln Air Park. That's going to do it for this year's coverage from Lincoln. I'm Brian Belansky. This is Inside the SCCA at the Tire Rack SCCA Solo Nationals. See you in 2025.
Make their head drop.